This is Ali Meehan from Costa Women, founder of Costa Women, which is a free community for women living in Spain or women heading this way. I want to welcome all the women today who want to make it happen, because that's going to be the theme of this particular interview. I want to thank initially our sponsors, Casa Seguros, for helping with this interview. Casa make it easy for foreigners moving to Spain with a range of insurance products at competitive prices, and you can check them out at casaexpat.com. Today, I'm speaking to the lovely Lily Mensah, the Brand Maven. I first met Lily when she came to speak at our International Women's Day conference in 2016. Lily is sassy, spirited and quirky, and believes we should work our quirks to make your personal branding zing. And you're just about to see how much she zings all the time. Welcome, Lily. What a gorgeous laugh.
Well. Hi, Ali. How are you?
I'm good, Lily. Good to see you.
Thank you for having me.
So the theme for these interviews is make it happen. So how did you start your make it happen business journey? Do tell us.
It started, various ways. My father was very keen, and I think in at the beginning of one's journey, it was very much go to secretarial school, do things. So it had to be one of the best secretarial skills, which was pitman, if you remember.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
So I got my pitman certification with, believe it or not, 110 words a minute.
Wow.
Shorthand.
Wow.
If you give me that tip, I'll run away. And then I went into underwriting, Lloyd's of London, and within the city, and then saw a few people lose their fortunes in the 80s, predominantly widows as well, who husbands had left them a fortune, but that fortune ended up being wiped out for various natural disasters. And my job at the time was to sort of help them claim back some of the losses, because with insurance you have reinsurance and reinsurance, and I think you've been in the insurance industry as well, so you can imagine what those losses were like.
Yeah.
And then sort of branding found me later on, and then another sort of global scandal happened. I was working for a big accountancy firm that we shall not name here, because I loved that company. And that fell again. And I thought, you know what? If I'm a fail, I'm going to do it myself.
I'm going to make it happen myself.
Yeah, I'm going to do it myself. I'm going to make it myself, but hopefully, touch wood, it hasn't happened. So I went to my best friend's house. Her brother-in-law was there. So there's me chassing towards him, knowing he was an accountant. And I said to him, all right, love, give us a job. Well, not quite, but almost in those terms. And he said, no, I can't afford you, but you're smart. I know you're smart. So why don't you're in marketing, you're in branding, why don't we set you up a business? So I had to come up with a name first and go back to him. And that's where Links was born. And Links was Lily, your boy's network of consultancy services.
Okay.
So that's how I made it happen.
Yeah, great. So what differences do you see now from those early days of being an apprentice within an organization to having your own consultancy firm? How has the world changed?
Oh, enormously, because everything pretty much is down to you. So you have to make opportunities for others that work with you. And then make sure that whether it's your an apprentice working for you, an associate working for you, and when I say consultancy services, as a brand specialist, I don't do the drawing myself. I don't do the logos myself. So everything has to go towards look at the designers that you work with, the web specialists, and all those things. Make sure that you're almost carrying a client's promise through them, and making sure that your arms are big enough to go around everybody else that works with you to make that happen. Yeah. And I think that's the biggest thing. The responsibility of other people's dreams almost relies on you.
Yeah. So what advice, because actually being a solopreneur can be a pretty lonely road. So what advice would you give for other women thinking about taking that jump from the corporate world where it's quite safe to the life of being a solopreneur?
It's finding people.
Okay.
Number one thing is finding people, good people, because there are people all over the world, but finding good people that you can align yourself with, people who mean you well, who will hold your hand at the beginning, find out what you need, because everybody has talent. It's the people who will recognize your talent and help you along the way. And I think, you know, as I said earlier, from my friend's brother-in-law, he recognized my talent. He took me under his wing and he helped me to make it happen. So it's the people around you. But if somebody is in the, you know, entrepreneurship is, oh gosh, like you say, very, very lonely. And every now and again, make a phone call, see how other entrepreneurial women are doing.
Yeah.
They might just need a 30-minute. We all appear very, very busy, but everybody has 30 minutes to say, hey, let's have a quick chat about nothing. Let's have a cup of tea over the internet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And with the internet now, you know, there's distance isn't a problem, is it?
Yeah, exactly.
Like you're in London, I'm in Spain. It's quite easy to just have a quick chat.
Yeah, indeed.
So one thing I love about you is your authenticity, which is now at the forefront of everything that we do, even from Facebook algorithms now to building a tribe. How can we use who we are to underpin our own brands? What would be your advice?
That's a really good question, Ali. And some really, really famous women once said, only you can do you flawlessly. And, that famous person was me. Only you can do you flawlessly. And it helps to do what comes naturally to you because, you know, people are buying you first, Ali, and before they buy your widget, before they buy your service. So use whatever is unique about you to be the beacon of your brand. I mean, not everybody will like you, but if we try to serve everybody else, we'll be watering down that brand. So put a stake in the ground and carve a niche for yourself. And, you know, building a tribe takes time and effort, but you have to think of the long game in mind.
Yeah.
I mean, believe it or not, when I started my business, I was one of a handful of Black female business consultants and the only marketing specialist back in the day. So I took advantage of that. I know I was unique by the virtue of how I looked and the services that I was bringing, and I used that to catapult myself. And through that, I won my first award.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was serving a niche market of in an area where it was only 2% non-white.
Okay.
I think it's probably gone up to about 15 now. By the time it was only 2% non-white, and there's me standing out with grey suits, you know, grey suits all around me. But I thought, you know what? Here's me. This is what I have to offer. Let's work together, and don't be shy that you might be different, because it's that difference, that quirky thing about you, that will make you stand out.
Yeah, indeed. So what's your favorite social media platform and why?
Oh, Ali, you know this question. I LinkedIn, maybe because I've used LinkedIn for a long time. I've been on LinkedIn since about 2003, 2004,
okay,
when it first came out.
Yeah.
So, and for me, as a professional, that's why I feel comfortable. You know, you don't need to spend a lot of time. There's no politics there and all that. So I say do a daily check-in. You know, you get options of happy birthday and work anniversary. I stay away from the happy birthday and always say work anniversary. And then LinkedIn doesn't always get the work anniversary right. So so many people come back to you and say, oh, actually, I've had this job for 10 years. Or maybe new job because they just updated their LinkedIn profile.
Yeah.
And so, but it helps to just, so you're still constantly engaging with people in a very, very small way.
So what would be your insider tip then for using LinkedIn?
If it's not on your phone, why not? Because I'm sure everybody has Facebook on their phones.
Yeah.
Put LinkedIn on your phone, and as you're doing your daily business, if anything pops up, check in, tap into it, see who's out there. see who's written an article, comment on it. So one tip is to have LinkedIn on your phone and check in daily.
Okay, that's a great tip. I don't actually have it on my phone, so I'll put it on my I do not. I do. I promise. I'll do it straight after this.
I love Instagram also. It's my new toy boy.
Yeah.
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 LinkedIn is my old husband, my old husband that's in the corner. But Instagram is my new toy boy. Instagram you don't need too much to make it work. So I've got the best of both worlds.
Yeah, yeah. I have just recently got more into Instagram, and I agree with you. I really love it. It's great because it's quite quick, but you can build up a good following, and people share amazing stuff on there. So it's
exactly,
including somebody that was dancing recently, but I won't mention any names, Lily. Tell me what your goal will be to achieve for 2018. We're a quarter way through.
Do we have to answer that one? I'm embarrassed. I was embarrassed, but I mean, my book, a lot of people have asked me to do an audio version because most of my network is of a certain age. Reading can be a bit of a challenge. Would rather listen. So I'm looking at doing an audiobook, and I've done the intro. I have started the first step. I've taken the first step, but I hope to have the audiobook ready by the end of the year.
Okay.
So it's out there now. Now I have to go and do it.
Yeah. And remind us all what your book's called.
My book is called Work Your Quirks.
Okay.
It's the businesswoman's companion for a sparkling personal brand.
Brilliant. Good. So I'm going to ask you some quick fire questions now. So get ready by your guns. Business book. What are you currently reading, and the number one thing you've learned from this book?
I'm reading a book called Whack Around the Head by Sharon Eden. It's quite a funny book. It sort of just tells you just wake up and get on with it. For those of us who tend to sort of fall asleep every now and again behind the wheel of life. And the bit there that got me was, the only person that will make it happen is you. And it's about, taking charge and living your purpose and your passion. And I'm also trying to read more of people, from people that I know, people in the network.
Yeah.
Because we tend to buy books that famous people have written with their, their insights into life thousands of miles away that doesn't really resonate with us. So now I'm sort of standing back a little bit and thinking, who do I know in my network whose wisdom relates to mine, that I can actually relate to? So Sharon, I know personally.
Okay.
I'm sort of reading her book, and that's why I chose her book.
Okay, well, we'll add a link to her book and yours below this interview. Best piece of advice you've ever been given? Well, again, it was a good woman who sort of saw my promise back in the day at the consultancy firm, and she just said to me, start with what you have and the rest will follow. Her name is Jen Wisher King, a big, brassy American lady that used to beat the hell out of me in terms of pushing me to do more. And I just leave me alone. I'm doing my best. But she saw the promise. Yeah.
But because I wasn't confident enough, I wanted everything to be perfect. And her guidance was, start with what you have. Okay, that's a great tip and great advice. Favorite quote and why? It's favorite quote is from my mother, and she says, and still says, that there will always be enough food on the table if you're prepared to share what's on your plate. And it's about sharing, isn't it? Because if you're sitting there and hiding what you have, other people will not always not feel that they can also share. But if you all share, there's a great big table, and then you have that feast. And I think that's the analogy behind that. Yeah, no, it's a lovely quote, because I grew up in the days, business grew up in the days of the salesman having his diary, a special book that you weren't ever allowed to look in because it had his contacts in there. Ah.
But now I think as women particularly, we tend to collaborate and share far more, and are happy to let my network be your network, and share, the leads and things that we have. So it's a lovely analogy.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm waving my make it happen wand and granting you one wish for your business. What are you daydreaming about?
Oh, daydreaming. I'd like to do more group coaching and corporate gigs, predominantly on LinkedIn, because I think as women, around the issue of personal branding, because I think we all have brands, and the aspiring, for the aspiring leader, LinkedIn is that place where if you think of your brand as the ring, as the diamond, your brand as the diamond, and LinkedIn is where you go and place the diamond on the ring.
Yeah.
And then you set it up so you can take it to Tiffany's.
Okay.
Yeah. So more corporate gigs, more group gigs, and yes. So.
Okay, good. So if anybody wants to connect with Lily, we'll give her details below this interview. Last question. Last thing you did that made you sparkle?
I think it was last week or the week before. It was another unusually cold snap, and everything was frozen. Nobody went out. But then I thought, you know what? I'm going to go out there, and I have a personal trainer that I see every Saturday morning. I call it my guilty pleasure. It sounds weird, but I feel so good after that.
Yeah.
She decided to make me dance, and so that lady that you saw dancing around and then uploading, she does that, videos me when we've done 10 minutes already and I'm right at the end and I'm really tired. She just videos me. But then I thought, you know what, I've had a challenging week, so I'm going to give this dance thing some welling. So I was dancing away, and then I came out and I thought, I felt so alive. It made me feel instantly, bigger, taller. I felt about 10 inches taller than before I went in. So then, of course, I posted on Instagram, Facebook. It lifted my spirits. And I think because everybody was homebound, it had probably more views than many of the videos that I'd done.
Okay.
Just because people were at home and they were probably bored and didn't go out, and they saw more of me just buzzing around and doing me.
Yeah, and indeed being your authentic self.
Yes. I mean, today, for instance, I've just done my run. I haven't had time to get my hair all coiled up and lovely. I thought, did you know what? People see me with my hair like this, with a bandana on in the gym. So why not do this in the interview like that? And it's good. It's good for business.
Yeah. Yeah.
Be your authentic self so people see that you're human.
Yeah, you're real.
And I'm sure if I have to go and stand in front of corporates, I wouldn't be dressed like this. But for something like this, why not?
Yeah.
Life's too short.
Yeah, yeah. I'm with you on that one. So what's your favourite way for us to connect with you?
Lily Mensah is pretty much everywhere, on Twitter and on LinkedIn. Instagram and Facebook is Lady Mensah Brand. And you can get me on WhatsApp on +44 777 55 36 472. And that's hashtag Work Your Quirks will find me as well.
Brilliant. Good. That's some great ways that we can connect with you, and hopefully we can get you some speaking gigs too.
Yes, please. And I'll come across to Spain anytime. Just give me the nod.
Wonderful. Brilliant. Thanks so much for your time, Lily. It's been great talking to you, and enjoy the rest of your week.
Thank you. Have a lovely, lovely week, Ali.
Thanks, Lily. Bye.